Hello and welcome back to another episode of Handloader TV. I'm your host, Jeremiah, and in this episode we're going to be doing the long-awaited load development with our Yavapai College built Remington 700 here, chambered in none other than 7mm PRC. A new cartridge from Hornady. It offers very similar ballistics to the 7mm Remington Magnum, but it does have some notable differences such as the lack of the belt there on the base of the cartridge case. And how much that matters is entirely up to you, but there's a lot of good load data out there for it now, and we're very excited to take a deep dive into how this cartridge is going to perform in our Yavapai College giveaway rifle here. Now, before we get too in-depth in this video, one thing that I want to encourage each and every one of you to do is to leave a comment right now, because we've had so much positive feedback on this rifle. We do intend to do another giveaway rifle and have it built by Yavapai College, and we'd like you to tell us what you'd like to see, whether it's a varmint style rifle, a long-range rifle, a dangerous game rifle. In addition to that, also let us know what cartridge you would like it chambered in. We're very excited to get started in this, so let's go ahead and take a look at the rifle itself and walk you through all of its features. So if you haven't already watched our 3-part video series on building and completing this rifle here, I would highly encourage you guys to check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. You can go there, find it under the videos tab, and watch those and get a real idea of how all these parts interact with each other and everything that went into making this rifle a reality. But starting out at the back, we'll go ahead and walk through the features and specifications of this rifle. We have a 1-inch Pachmayr decelerator recoil pad, standard option on these pure precision altitude stocks, and they're kind of the gold standard when it comes to the recoil pads. So this is again a pure precision altitude stock. Its overall length is 31 inches, length of pull is 13.5 inches. And at the fore end, it's 1.75 inches wide with some texturing there as well to help you grip the rifle, and some texturing here at the rear at the palm swells as well, which personally I'm a big fan of. Also, we have a blueprinted and trued Remington 700. This is from the new Remington Arms Company after the original Remington Arms and Ammunition filed bankruptcy. So the brand new action from them. Very nice, feels very clean running through the raceways, especially after being trued and blueprinted. We have an oversized tactical bolt knob here, which is threaded on, so if you're not a big fan of oversized tactical bolt knobs, you can thread on whatever you like on there. And that feels really nice here. We have a 2-position safety. In the safe position, you can operate the bolt. And in the fire position, obviously, you're good to pull the trigger. Speaking of which, the trigger is a Trigger Tech Special, and this rifle's been checked numerous times off camera, and it is completely safe and empty, I assure you. Go ahead and pull this trigger here. Very nice trigger with no discernible creep or over travel, and an average of 5 pulls on a Wheeler Engineering digital trigger pull scale. It weighs out at 1 pound, 13 ounces. And you do have some room for adjustment if you'd like to go a little bit heavier for hunting purposes, or if you'd like to go a little bit lighter for target shooting, you can certainly do that with this trigger. Now, the next most important component in the rifle, in my personal opinion, is the barrel. And for that, we did not skimp. This is a 26-inch Bartlein barrel. They're known for making wonderful barrels. This one is carbon fiber wrapped, 1-in-8 twist, 26 inches in length, and is even threaded on the end for a muzzle brake or suppressor or whatever your heart desires. Currently, we have a self-timing stainless steel muzzle brake out on the end there, just to kind of help tame the recoil on the 7mm PRC. And after shooting it with and without the muzzle brake, I decided to keep the muzzle brake threaded on there for our entire load development. And that's the configuration in which the lucky person will be taking this rifle home with. Last but not least, we have a Swarovski Z6 3-18 by 50p HD rifle scope on here. It's got side parallax adjustment, and it's also a very lightweight option, held in place by Tally lightweight rings. Overall, this is a fantastic rifle, and I'm really excited to go ahead and see how it shoots. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about hand loading for the 7mm PRC and this cartridge. When it comes to hand loading for the 7mm PRC cartridge, it really is a simple and straightforward operation. If you loaded for a 7 rem mag, 300 Win mag, or any Magnum cartridge, you know the process, you know how it works. So rather than walk you through and showcase each step of the reloading process and make this video much longer than it needs to be, we've gone ahead and decided to just talk you through the process. So we went ahead and started by selecting Hornady dies, because we'll be giving away a set of Hornady dies with this rifle to one lucky winner. And that's what we used to develop our loads. We did add a Hornady click adjustable micrometer seating stem for our Hornady die set, which just greatly helped in dialing in that overall length. The tactile and audible clicks are really a great addition to any Hornady seating die. So from there, we went ahead and selected the Hornady cases for all of our cartridge case needs there. They were once fired from either Hornady Precision Hunter ammunition or Hornady Precision Match ammunition. From there, the cases were cleaned in our Lyman Cyclone rotary case tumbler, which is a wet tumbler, and then they were dried in our Lyman Cyclone case dryer. So the cases came out really nice, clean, shiny, and polished, and they wouldn't get any grit up in our Hornady dies. Ran them through the Hornady full-length sizing die, bumping the shoulder about 2.5 thousandths of an inch. And then from there, a chamfer and deburr was applied to those cases using a RCBS case prep center. Then we went ahead and used a Frankfurt Arsenal hand primer to prime each and every one of those cases. Then charges were weighed and dispensed on an RCBS Matchmaster powder dispenser, and all charges were accurate to 0.04 of a grain. Probably a little bit excessive for a Magnum cartridge, but that's what we went ahead and did. From there, we went ahead and seated bullets using our Hornady seating die with the click adjustable micrometer seating stem installed. Very nice feature there. We used a lot of really good bullets, premium powders, premium components, and I'm very excited to see how this rifle shoots. I've already gone ahead and preloaded my ammunition for this test. So in a moment, we'll go ahead and hit the range, but before we do, for the shooting segments on these videos, we only showcase to you the best loads that we found for this particular rifle. If you would like to see all the loads tested, we regularly post those to our website, loaddata.com, and I would highly encourage you guys to go there and check it out. You'll be able to see the group sizes, velocities, the powders that we use. The only thing you won't be able to see is the powder charge weights. We reserve that for subscribers, and truly it's the best way to support our channel, either by subscribing to loaddata.com and having access to the world's largest online reloading manual, or by subscribing to Handloader magazine, a bi-monthly publication that we put out there for the world. We greatly appreciate those who do choose to subscribe and support what we do. It allows us to continue to produce videos and content like this. So thank you very much. Now, let's go ahead and hit the range and see what this rifle can do. So we're out on the range. It's a beautiful day. Got the PRC benched in and zeroed for the day. We have an Ailer Model 35P chronograph set up 10 feet from the muzzle to record all of our velocities. And just in case, because it's a little bit overcast, we also have the lab radar as backup. I don't anticipate needing it, but just in case, we want to capture every velocity from this rifle. Targets downrange at 100 yards as usual, and according to the Kestrel 5700 here, the temperature is 59 degrees Fahrenheit, altitude's 5,000 feet. Humidity is 22% and pressure is 30.26 in Hg when adjusted for elevation. We're dealing with a little bit of wind. It's a bit choppy, to be honest with you. Right now it's at about 4 miles an hour. Gusts up to 10 miles an hour. That usually increases in the afternoon. But there you have it. We're going to start out with some factory ammunition. This is Hornady ELD match ammunition, 180 grain projectile on this guy. What do you say we get benched in and see how this stuff shoots? So first up, Hornady factory ammunition, 180 grain ELD match, 7mm PRC ammo. And because this is only a 4-round magazine, well, three in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, I'll have to single feed one of these guys. But that's okay, not a problem. Parallax is good. Let's put a group on the paper. And there is 4 rounds on target. Put one more in. Now we've gone ahead and swapped over to Hodgdon Rotumbo powder with a 150 grain Barnes Tip Triple Shock X. We're using a 70 grain charge of the Rotumbo powder. Hornady cases, Federal 215M primers, and our overall loaded length is 2.270 inches. We're all set, settled in, natural point of aim and all those good things. Let's put a group on a paper. Looking good so far. Yeah, this rifle seems to like those Barnes bullets. We had pretty good results across the board with the 150 grain Tip Triple Shock X bullet. From the start load to the right up to the max load that we just shot. So this is day 2 on the range. I'll give you an update on the environmental conditions for the day. Everything's exactly the same. We've got the target downrange at 100 yards, Ailer Model 35P chronograph set up 10 feet from the muzzle to record all our velocity. According to the Kestrel 5700 here, we've got a 2 to 5 mile an hour wind coming from about the I'd say 9 o'clock position. Temperature 64 degrees Fahrenheit, altitude's 5,000 feet. Humidity is 35 degrees 35%, and pressure is 30.05 nhg. So we'll go ahead and get back to testing hand loads now. Picking up where we left off, we're using Alliant Reloader 22 powder, a 63.0 grain charge with a 175 grain Berger Elite Hunter, Federal 215M primers, Hornady cases, and our overall loaded length is 3.320 inches. Pardon me. I have yet to have a 7mm rifle that will not shoot this particular bullet well. So, I have high hopes for this group. This load is using Alliant Reloader 25 powder, a 66.5 grain charge with a 197 grain Sierra Hollow Point boat tail or Match King bullet, Federal 215M primers, Hornady cases, and our overall loaded length is 3.300 inches. Man, oh man, I'm really starting to fight the mirage right now. Barrel's getting a little bit hot. So now we've swapped over from Alliant Reloader 25. We've moved on to Alliant Reloader 26 powder with a 65 grain charge, which is a maximum charge weight, with a 185 grain Nosler RDF bullet. Federal 215M primers, and our overall loaded length is 3.20 inches. Benched in here. See what we can do. Well, that looks like a very respectable little group there. So now we're going to go ahead and put Vitavori N565 to the test using 180 grain Berger VLD hunting bullet, Hornady cases, Federal 215M primers, and our overall loaded length is 3.320 inches. Rifle's benched in, barrel is nice and cool, and we got 5 rounds to put on a paper. So as you can see, we're back at the bench now after a lot of shooting, and we put this rifle through the gauntlet. We did a lot of different powders, a lot of different bullets. I would highly encourage you guys to check out loaddata.com to see just how extensive our load development was with this particular rifle. However, we got some really good results, and I'll start out with the factory ammunition that we tested, which was Hornady match ammunition using 180 grain Hornady ELDM bullet. We got a 5-shot group of 0.62 inches, average velocity of 2,923 feet per second, extreme spread of 48, and standard deviation of 20. All in all, not too bad for factory ammunition, and you can't complain about that group size there. And moving through these targets, you'll see that the groups were very consistent overall, which I'm very happy to see. The next load that we tested was using a more hunting style bullet, using Hodgdon Rotumbo powder, 150 grain Barnes Tip Triple Shock X for the bullet. We got a standard deviation of 16, extreme spread of 37, and average velocity of 3207, which grouped into a 0.70 inch group. Nothing to sneeze at there, especially for a hunting load. Very pleased with that. Rolling right along, the next target we went ahead and shot was using Alliant Reloader 22 powder, a 63.0 grain charge with a 175 grain Berger Elite Hunter bullet. Average velocity of 2,925 feet per second, standard deviation of 8, extreme spread of 18, and our group size for 5 shots was 0.56 inches. Rolling along to the next target that we shot, we used Alliant Reloader 25 powder, a 66.5 grain charge with a more match style bullet here, a Sierra 197 grain hollow point boat tail match bullet. We had a standard deviation of only 4 on this guy, extreme spread of 12 feet per second, and average velocity of 2,935 feet per second for 5 shots, which grouped into 0.59 inches. Overall, outstanding results, and I've had pretty good luck with Reloader 25 in the 7mm PRC, especially if you're looking for top-notch velocities. Overall, I think it's a great option, right along with our next target that we're going to take a look at, which is Reloader 26 powder, a 65 grain charge. Another great powder for the 7mm PRC. This is using a 185 grain Nosler RDF. Average velocity was right around 3,000 feet per second, standard deviation of 14, extreme spread of 39, and a group size of 0.71 inches. So overall, this rifle seems to be able to punch out between ½ minute of angle and 3/4 of minute angle groups pretty consistently with a good load. The final load that we put to the test in this rifle was using Vitavori N565 powder, a personal favorite powder of mine, and a 180 grain Berger VLD hunting bullet. Average velocity was 2,968 feet per second for an extreme spread of 14 and a standard deviation of 5. And those 5 shots grouped into 0.59 inches, so just a little bit over ½ a minute of angle. Overall, I think this rifle is extremely capable with a good load, and whoever gets it is going to get a really nice, well-rounded package, and all the load development has already been done for you. So if you just want to load up a bunch of good loads and head out to the range, you'll be more than able to do that with this rifle. So in closing, I want to leave you with some personal thoughts that I have about the rifle. As always, we let the results do the talking, and you always be the judge with the information that we've presented you. These are just my personal thoughts on the rifle after putting about 250 rounds through it, maybe 300. We tried to keep the round count a little bit low since we are giving away this rifle, but we also wanted to see what it was capable of. This is the first rifle that Yavapai College has turned out for us, and I think they did a phenomenal job. I really have to tip my hat to them. This rifle is a pleasure to shoot. It's very nice. They met the target weight perfectly there, coming in right under 9 pounds with everything you see on this rifle. And the overall accuracy we got with this rifle was more than acceptable for what my intended purpose for the rifle would be, which is a longer range hunting cartridge, longer range hunting rifle. And they nailed it. They knocked it out of the park, and they used some really good high quality components. Overall, I think the rifle performed very, very well. We got some really good load data out of this as well. I'm excited to get that posted up onto loaddata.com. And as far as the recoil goes is one thing I really want to touch on, because I have previous experience with the 7mm PRC, but that rifle weighed, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 pounds, and it wasn't really a good rifle to judge felt recoil on. However, after shooting this rifle with the brake on and off, I have a really good understanding of how 7mm PRC feels, and the felt recoil is very similar to me, in my opinion, to a 7mm Remington Magnum. It's more than tolerable without a brake, but if you're a little bit recoil sensitive, the brake is definitely a nice option. And if you're going to be shooting more than 100 rounds in a day, the brake definitely comes in handy. My shoulder wasn't too jacked up after all the load development that we did. So that's a win for me there. Overall, very happy, but as always, you decide and you be the judge. We want to thank you so very much for watching this episode, and if you haven't checked out our website, handloadermagazine.com, and entered, I highly encourage you guys to do that. We're running out of time very quickly, so you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. As always, if you liked what you saw, give us a thumbs up, let us know, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified when we post our next video. We have a lot of really exciting projects in the works. And of course, last but not least, we have the comment section. Be sure to head down there, leave a comment. There's lots of good folks down there sharing their knowledge, their experience, their information with each other. And I also try and get down there as often as I possibly can and respond to any questions that we may have. It gets a little bit more difficult as we grow, but I do my best. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode.